At IHG Hotels and Resorts.
All right. It's been a while. Whew. This evening's conversation is going to be good because I'm in one of those moods. So thank you guys for joining already. I appreciate you. Um, my first few days back to IG and social media, lots of things to do, still to do. But thanks for joining us. We're gonna have our guest soon, and I think I would let her take over most of the conversation. Just because she normally is the logical mind, I am the one that likes to ask the questions that make sense, but don't make sense. So tune in a little bit more. She should be on here shortly. Um, yeah, it's one of those things that we've needed to do, but just haven't been able to do in a while. And now that we're back, it is something we're going to get more into and maybe create some more stuff out of it. So I'm glad that you guys are here. So thank you for joining. For those of you who stay on for the whole conversation, just let us get some of your feedback. It is dating, and I think we might have had a typo because I didn't want it to really be just dating over 40. I wanted to be dating in general, and kind of broaden the range of the conversation. So we'll work on that today. If you guys have any input, you can actually put it in the comments. I will try to get to as many comments as possible. You all can ask questions. It is a relaxed space, so there's no judgment. I talk a lot of shit, um, but I try to make sense with the shit that I talk. So, let's see how good this conversation will be today, and we will definitely, try to get into a lot more of real world stuff because I don't like having these conversations where we pretend. For you guys who've been on here, you know that it's a no fluff conversation, transparent conversation. Some things you may like, some things you may not like, some things you may agree with or disagree with. And that is all part of the conversation today. So let us see what happens. I'm trying to get her on here to join us. We have a struggle to get her on. In the meantime, the topic is non-negotiables. Are they realistic? You all could start by putting comments in there. We could try to address it from now and have a conversation. But when she comes on, she's going to take over the whole topic. And like I said, I will just be here to try to maybe light some fires, and kind of get into the conversation a little bit more. Personally, I mean, lots I could say about non-negotiables when it comes to dating. Um, there's lots I can say when it comes to dating in general. But this is why we have in the forum, and we want to have a conversation with you guys. So share your thoughts. Let us know what you think. But it's something that I think we've been meaning to talk about it. And it's just a matter of getting more open and more transparent with these conversations, especially in today's world. There's so much stuff that people talk about, so much stuff that people expect. And it's rough. It's rough. It is rough to navigate through a lot of these things. So let's see. I think she's on there. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see if she's on there. Request to join. Come on, lady. Let's go. Let's see if she could join us here. Oh, there she is.
I am.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, one more of those episodes you have convinced me to be part of. And I was saying earlier that I'm going to allow you to take over from the beginning and you can start the conversation. I am warning people, I am on one today. So it is going to be very,
Wait,
very, it's going to be a little bit more transparent. And I'm going to be asking questions as well. So go ahead and start off where you would like to start off, with your introductions and stuff, as per the logical
sure.
side of the conversation.
Sure. So I can't tell who's in the room, but just in case anyone is not familiar with me, I'm DysChick. I'm a culture and music carnival blogger. I also have a podcast and live town hall series, BK Rant and Rave, and just launched my own marketing consulting for DysChick Consulting. And roped Garth into this. because I actually think this is, you know, you do a lot for mental health, physical health awareness, things like that. I think there are some conversations that people are having as far as dating, especially dating over 40, where they're not being as realistic as they should be. So one of the topics that I thought would be interesting, because it's coming up a lot, is the non-negotiables. Like, these are the
Yeah.
things I absolutely will not deal with. He has to make this amount, he has to be this tall, he has to do this. And is that really realistic over 40? Ever, but really over 40.
Yeah, I wanted to add something though today. I think let's open it up a little bit more. Let's not have the just dating over 40 conversation. Let's have it in general, right?
Yeah.
Because the unrealistic expectations and all that kind of stuff we may think about, I think people have a reason why. Um, and from a discussion I had earlier today, we were talking about, peeling back to see where most of these things came from and how they started. And I think that's one of the
Mhm.
conversations we don't have as often. We see the end result and we think, well, the end result is the end result. And
Yeah.
there's no reason why we're at that point. So the first thing we have to ask is, why the non-negotiables? Why the expectations? Right? So the first question would be, why the expectations? From guys' perspective, from conversation, I think it's a way of them trying to set the standard
Hmm.
at the beginning. But a lot of it also comes from past experiences. So
Yeah.
when we hear a guy talk about non-negotiable, the women love to hate these guys because they're like, "What do you mean?" And I like the conversation because I think it's good to know that they feel that way.
Hmm.
However, I think if we're looking at an even playing field when it comes to anything with dating or anything about relationship conversation, we have to also understand that if you have non-negotiables, he can have non-negotiables,
Hmm.
and at times the two of you all may not fit,
There is that part.
right? And this is one of the things that I join these conversations for with you, because I feel like we even losing the idea that we have a choice to say that this makes sense or not.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah. And this is not to say don't have standards, don't have requirements, just take anybody off the street.
there's a
But this
difference.
is the non-negotiables of the I absolutely will not budge on these things that when I see them coming up are actually pretty trivial. When you think about real relationships and healthy relationships, does his height make for a healthy relationship? Like, is that worth being one of your non-negotiables?
And it's okay, but it's okay though. It's okay if that is one of the non-negotiables and you're not going to budge, right? Like I said, I think it's okay. I think it's fine to be that way. I just think that if we are going to be that way, be prepared for feedback.
Hmm.
Be prepared for somebody that says,
Yeah.
"Hey, this is unrealistic to me," and I mean, in a respectful way, you can keep it moving, right? So
Yeah.
we're not saying don't have a standard, don't have an expectation, because a lot of people have things that they don't feel as though they want um they want to align themselves with. And we talked about this before about dating with
Hmm.
alignment and not just intention. Because if you're dating
Yeah.
and you're dating with intentions, anyhow, dating with alignment kind of removes all this expectation and non-negotiables. And I remember having a conversation, and I had to ask, one of the ladies in the group. I said, "Well, you've pointed out all the things that you won't do. Is there something that you will do?"
No.
No, I'm not gonna answer that. I won't answer. Okay, cool. It's just. I mean, it's some of it is just delusional,
Yeah.
and some of it is just not even unrealistic. It's just ridiculous.
But it comes
I'm
from
just gonna say it.
somewhere. It has
That's
to
what.
come from somewhere. Somebody is saying, no, these things, whether it is, like you said, past relationships, past experiences where it was, something traumatic. But I just think if you are, I hate to use your phrasing of we're going from the pool to the puddle, we're
That's what it
narrowing
is.
down
Why do you hate to use my phrase
because
of
a
the
puddle
pool to
is
the puddle?
gross.
But the thing is that the pool is gross. So why? So what's the big deal? The thing is that the pool and the puddle just states that we're already unrealistic, thinking that there's this big pool of choices that we have, and if we come back to over a certain age
Hmm.
or a certain environment or a certain demographic, or
Yeah.
certain financial barrier or status, right?
Hmm.
I think we're looking at it from the point of view as the puddle is what actually exists. The pool is what's in your mind. You feel you have
Hmm.
all these choices,
Yeah.
and like we talked about it before, even in non-negotiables, and you talk about stuff that you want to see in him or in her. My question is always, is that person that fits your non-negotiables, are they going to like you?
Right. Yeah. Or is that really something that matters?
It's all delusional. They can say what they want, they can jump off the call. It's delusional. It's
Don't jump off the call.
it's an idea that we construct in our minds about what we think we deserve and want. And like I
Hmm.
said, it's a difference from a standard to have non-negotiables. That's just
Yeah.
my perspective.
Yes. But we're opening it up to the chat.
Yeah.
So I did do a poll before, and we'll get into the results of that
We'll
later.
talk about the poll while I read this comment here. I don't like the apps because I find myself. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let me read it first. I don't
Yeah.
like the apps because I find myself using physical attributes like height as my standard for swiping, and I'm sure I missed out on great people that way.
Yeah. Probably.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean,
isn't
you
it
never know.
designed for that?
Oh, the apps. So there's which one is it? Hinge, I think, where it's like this app is designed for you to uninstall the app at some point because you find your person. That's not true. They're
I
all
have no idea.
designed for you to not do well at dating and keep being on the app.
Right, just like attention media, correct? So my thing is that the reason why you get in those as options is because it's to keep you on there and for
Hmm.
you to constantly fail at dating.
Real talk, right? If I cure your illness, you
You're not
won't
gonna come
buy my
back, yeah.
medication.
Like a doctor.
Exactly. I
No
just want to
judgment to
treat
all
the
the doctors
symptoms.
in the house tonight, hopefully.
They know.
Yeah,
Y'all
but
know.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's a true statement in terms of if you see that these are your options or these are what you have to look at, right? That's what you're going to go with. And the same thing
Yes.
with having a non-negotiable. Again, you're going from the pool to the puddle because if you have a non-negotiable, just as if you have a standard, you're going to narrow it down to people
Hmm.
that you align with or you don't align with. Now, like I
Right.
said, my question is, when you think you align with those people, do they think that they align with you?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
are you okay to deal with the fact that most times it may not work out?
It may not. Now, don't get me wrong. I've done well on the apps.
I have no idea what the apps look like.
Oh, I little anecdote. Met my first fiance on Yahoo Messenger. I've been on the
Did you say your
internet
first fiance? And yeah,
on Yahoo Messenger. Yes,
good.
we're over 40 here, you guys.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
I have no issue with the apps. I
Hmm.
think you really could find people who are interesting and you can see some of their likes and dislikes and you can have, activity partners, whatever, go do stuff. But I think some of the criteria, the way that it allows you to select the people
Hmm.
is meant for you to just go into your basis, shallow self and height and, income and all of that. And it's
Yeah.
like,
So this is a little bit different. We know that most people have their list of non-negotiables. If somebody could put in a chat a non-negotiable that they encountered from somebody else that they thought
oof,
was really weird or different or just unrealistic. So we'll
yeah,
wait for that in the meantime. But
yeah. I'll go over the poll in the
yeah, go
meantime.
over the poll. Let me hear about this
So I did do a poll and I did have some options based on what I had heard. And so I
mhm,
did a different poll for men and a different poll for women.
mhm,
And so the results of the first poll, the second one is still in my stories, but the results of the first poll for women or for
mhm.
ladies was 100% must have a life plan.
What does that mean?
Exactly. Now, here's why I think that that's interesting. One, that these are all based on things I've heard people say. So someone did say, oh, he has to have a plan for his life. He has to have a life
Mhm,
plan. So 100% of the people, now granted, it's not thousands, right? This wasn't like a Gallup poll, but said for the men, the
mhm.
women dating men, they must have a life plan. It was 100% for the women's poll that said
Mhm.
no close male friends.
So the guys voted on their poll, a
Mhm.
non-negotiable is more or less she shouldn't have any close male friends.
Right.
And for the women, they voted that one of their non-negotiables is the guy has to have a life plan.
Yes.
So, okay. All right, go with your thoughts first.
Yeah, yeah. So what I do think is interesting as far as like the life plan, and we are talking of a certain age, it's the you can't just be chaotic, right? Like, just, I'm figuring it out. Because what do you hear when what do women hear when we ask them? "Oh, I'm still figuring out my relationship goals. I'm not sure what I want. I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about that," which is often untrue. But it's the way to calm the conversation down, to be like, I'm not committing to anything. So there is this idea of, no, I can't deal with this right now. You gotta have a plan for your life. And that way, hopefully, that means you will choose a partner that makes sense for you. So we won't be wasting each other's time. I think it's interesting that for the men with no close male friends, I would love for you to expand on that. But I'm just like, does that mean you think she's sleeping with her male friends? Or is it you don't want them calling you out on your stuff? Because I definitely have had guy friends be like, yo, that dude's on some shady stuff, D. Like, that's not,
Yeah, yeah.
he's not making sense.
So what's interesting to me is that that's where you went with that conversation. It's
Yeah.
interesting to me that you went there in terms of, is she sleeping with him, right? In terms of, is that what he's thinking?
Right.
Or
Is that the reason you don't want her to have
right,
close
right.
male friends?
So my thing with that is that you could also ask the questions like, even though it wasn't on the poll, like, would she be okay with him having a bunch of female friends, close female
Hmm.
friends, right?
Yeah.
And this is where I think we kind of confuse every single thing based, and it's to me, I'll be totally transparent as I am normally here. It just sounds controlling, actually. So it sounds
Yeah.
more like a controlling thing, and on both
Hmm.
sides, because most women may not say it, but she doesn't want him to have a whole bunch of female friends now, does she? Right? And then let's go to the life plan. It sounds like an
Yeah.
insurance, right? Um,
I knew you were going to say
so
that.
yeah, because when we say that the person has to have a life plan, and we're going to take in consideration, we're talking about maybe at a certain age, right?
Hmm.
Um, a life plan can mean anything.
It
So
definitely
if
could.
that's a non-negotiable, but it's so general, should it be on your list?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
And I
It's like
did give
somebody
people
saying
the
that.
opportunity to expound in the comments or send me a DM and let me know.
Yeah.
And
But
no.
this is what I'm saying. So now when you hear somebody, or if somebody picks that as their main thing, I would love to find out, well, what does that mean to you? Because
Hmm.
I could say I have a life plan and do nothing about it,
Right.
as well as I could say, hey, I'm not really too sure yet, because people transition from one job or career
Hmm.
from in different ages.
Hmm.
KFC guy got as a millionaire when he got to like 60 something, I
Hmm.
guess, right?
Yeah.
So when you hear that, you want to have the conversation like, what does that mean to you? What does a
Yeah.
life plan mean to you? So do you want me to lie to you and tell you I have this big idea?
Why would I want you to lie to me?
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying. We have to be very specific if we want to have
Hmm.
non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we have
let's
to
also be honest that there were character counts in the poll.
and we also
But
have to look at it. Well, yeah, but they didn't pick character. They were like, yeah, just have a life plan.
no, I
Right?
just mean like I couldn't write a whole long explanation. But I do think, honestly, what that may mean is I'm speculating for the women because
Mm,
I'm interpreting conversations I've had with other women
okay.
where it's he doesn't know what he's doing with himself. And that gets very frustrating, especially if you either really care about this person and you're like, no, go do that thing you wanted to do. Or, okay, this is like you're every day you're changing your mind. There's no like real plan or goal in sight. Like, what are we doing? It's not, it's seen as chaotic as opposed to transition, as you said, right? It seems as I just don't know what I'm doing. I just go with the flow. And I've definitely heard that from guys like, yeah, I'm just kind of seeing where things go. And it's like, that's great in your 20s. In your 40s and above, it's hard to hear that because it's not that you have your life figured out, but at
Mhm.
least you have enough life experience to be like, okay, I think I might do this thing, or I want to start gardening, or I want to do this. You have some answer to it.
Welcome back, the logical brain. Right?
Hey, but other women have said that.
No, no,
So
I'm saying welcome back to logical brain. Remember, you are also surrounded by logical brains,
I
which is good.
am.
And
Yes.
I think you do make a lot of sense when we have that type of conversation. What I would like you to think about is the fact that when you look at people who have been successful as entrepreneurs or whatever, they've had to change stuff along the way.
Hmm.
And I think this is an opportunity for the person that they're with to also not just say that they support, but show support, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have. I don't think we could really set aside and say, well, this is what you're supposed to do in your 20s. This is what you're supposed to do in your 30s. This is what you're supposed to do in your 40s and 50s and 60s. I think
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about it from that perspective, we put people in that box just based on who we think we want them to be, which I understand that. And this is where it comes with alignment. If you find somebody
Right.
that lives up to this plan idea, and I was confused, is a life plan meaning have a plan for your life or have a plan for your relationship?
So there's the thing. And I also was like, oh, we're going on career. And that definitely was not the discussion before. It wasn't you need to have a career plan. It was you need to be somehow on a path in your life. You need to somehow be like, I am either working towards these things or I've accomplished these things and now I'm trying to do this. Like there needs to be I know what I'm doing. I have an understanding of my life as opposed to I don't know, yeah, I'll just see what happens. That, don't get me wrong. It's okay for people to be like that, but it's also okay to have that as a non-negotiable.
Let's be specific. That's what I think. I think for that part of it, we should be specific. You know, 'cause
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're diving into career, relationship, and it's kind of getting intertwined. It's just like, okay,
Yes,
well,
but that's
are
why
we
it's
talking
for
about? Do
life.
you look for a relationship that's committed? Are you looking for that type of thing at this stage in your life, or are you not like that kind? I think those are all conversations, but it's good. It's a good start to a conversation that could go extremely deeper.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Absolutely.
Um,
But I still need more information on the no close male friends thing. Because
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
why
mean,
is that
I
most people's response?
from conversation with people, with guys, when it comes to the whole no close male friends, that's tricky because that could come across as an insecurity.
Hmm.
And like I said, I talk the whole no fluff thing because I feel as though we don't want to just get one side of it. It could come across as
Yes.
an insecurity when it comes to the guy, but it could also come as an insecurity based on what he knows about the girl. Who
Hmm.
knows? Um, Also, like I said, when we flip that conversation, we say, well, you know, if you're good with me having a bunch of female friends, then I might
Hmm.
be good with you having a bunch of guy friends. I think it breaks down the possibility of it being a real connection because now you're kind of like leaving it up in the air, like anything can happen
Hmm.
on both sides.
Right.
Yeah, I think the main part when you hear those type of conversations, sometimes I'm really curious why these people even have these conversations. Like, why would you be telling somebody about their guy friends, or why would that be something that you have in your mind going into something when it
Hmm.
even you're at the beginning stage of
Right.
getting to know somebody? Like, it's such a weird thing, and that's why I say I don't have a true sides here. I always try to figure out what makes sense
Hmm.
enough or the
Yeah.
perspective. Um, there's some weird questions that guys ask as well. We ask some kind of weird questions, like, you know, I mean, I don't want to go too off, but we talk like stuff with body count and all kind of like, why
Hmm.
are we even asking these questions when you took off for brunch? Like, like what are we setting ourselves up
Women
for
with a
failure?
certain body count eat more pancakes than women with.
Where IHOP or at because I mean I don't go to IHOP anymore,
They
but I'm just
must have
saying.
they must have done some
Oh,
research.
it's
People
a
were
new
like
marketing strategy. Okay,
there you
cool. Makes
go.
sense. It makes
Exactly.
sense. It makes
IHOP,
sense.
call me.
Yeah, call us because I want to be in that ad.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, hey
Yeah,
girl,
I don't
what's your body count like? And I'll feed her the pancakes for
there
each
you go.
one. Yeah,
There you go.
oh, great. But it's a weird way of looking at stuff when that is a non-negotiable. If that's also
Hmm.
something that the guys pick, I think it could show insecurities. And you know, one thing I want to talk about here, I don't think a lot of people understand these non-negotiables. It's not even a matter of being unrealistic; it's just unattractive.
Mm.
And when
To
I
say
say
them, to put them out.
like non-negotiables is unattractive. A
Hmm.
standard, even expectations, I could understand that because again, it's based on experience, it's based on what you want. But
Hmm.
when you say non-negotiables, it sounds transactional.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if you lead that way, what do you expect?
Hmm.
If that's how you lead and stuff, it's like the guys that tell all the time, you're going to spend a bunch of money in the beginning. Well, guess what? You're setting yourself up because you're leading with that one idea in the beginning.
Yes.
You
You're
know, so
setting the ground rules.
yeah, and again, why are we moving so fast in that dating spot?
Yeah. Yeah.
Too quick?
People have been, I know I've seen it on social media, but I've also definitely seen it in real life with the kind of rapid fire. questioning about people
Mm.
and judging them based on that. I do think that a lot of that comes from that kind of app mentality of put your whole life story at whatever age into these 5 boxes on a dating app. There's no way to contain an entire life in these just
Well,
few questions with
when
the
you did the
prompt.
poll, when you did your poll,
Yeah,
could you fit everything on the poll?
there is that.
So I'm saying
But
it's the same
but
thing.
the prompts though, the prompts aren't, tell me about a great moment in your life that really defined you. That's not the prompt. The prompt is, like, what do you want from
But you have to tell me because I
Sorry.
don't know. So you have to share with me because
Oh,
I don't know.
wow. Some of them are so just ridiculous. Like they give you options of how you would spend your money, travel, a candlelight dinner, whatever,
Mm.
things like that. But it's sort of prescribed. And it's going to bleed into how I think about interviewing for jobs. But it doesn't give you enough to really try to think of who is this person. It gives you the face value, just as basic as possible,
Yeah.
as superficial as possible. It's your height, your weight, your location, your income, your job.
So
Done.
let me ask you this: don't you think that that's the plan?
Of course, but I think it has seeped into actual real life dating where people are kind of rapid fire asking
Well,
these same
that's what I'm
things.
saying. Don't you think that that's the plan? Because
The
that's
plan to,
when you consume that type of stuff there on the app.
mhm,
I mean, we're being conditioned constantly. You're gonna take that into real life. So
right.
now you're utilizing metrics the same way that you utilize it on the app in real life.
Hmm.
And then when the outcome is not favorable, we want to know why the outcome is not favorable.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I honestly think that things like non-negotiables and all that stuff came from metrics that were done for stuff online and not in
Hmm.
real life.
Yes.
When you meet somebody at the bookstore, you don't automatically ask them, write down 6 of your non-negotiables. Like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Not yet. Just
But
wait.
well, honestly, if once it gets to that point, then the other narrative that we've been pushing is to separate men and women. It's already happening. Like that's the
Yeah.
goal. You know,
Yeah.
that's the goal, and then that's been the goal. And this is why I said when we look at it that way, we talked about this before, and you had
Hmm.
such a great idea. You said let's go to places where we can meet people, like
Hmm.
meet real people. Because
Yes.
other than that, it's like you don't have all those type of conversations when you meet somebody at a place that you're accustomed to, because then they're at that place.
Hmm.
So, non-negotiables: abusive behavior, homophobic, racist, pedo, non-negotiable. And then she said, "This is your twinner, by the way." And she said, "Oh, I dream to meet someone in the bookstore." Well, you got to be in the bookstore to meet somebody in the bookstore.
First, there has to be bookstores. Let's save the
Well,
bookstores.
so is there no more Barnes and Nobles?
There are
Oh,
few,
okay.
but they are there. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah. But I think from the perspective of the poll, um, I like the idea of it. I think
Hmm.
the plan thing is good. But I always talk about, do we have the flip side of it? So okay, if I have a
Yeah.
plan and you have your plan, are we going to be able to work together? That's one, right?
But at least we have something to talk about and to see if we can
Like
work
I said,
together on it.
so that's why I said I like that idea. And then the
Hmm.
idea of the guys saying that one of their things would be that she doesn't have a bunch of male friends. Um, I think that's a mental thing too, because of what we've been fed on social media in
Hmm.
general, especially the kind of conversations that some of these men's groups have. It's something that men look at as, I hate the fact I'm going to say this. They have it's one of the things that men look at as a red flag.
Hmm.
Ugh, ugh,
Did it hurt to say?
ugh, it
Are you
hurts.
okay?
I'm not okay. And I think in that sense, it also ties into insecurity, right?
Yeah.
But it also gives you something to look out for,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
you. But again, why are we getting so deep into the puddle
Hmm.
at the beginning?
Yes.
Like, and that's why I said, why are we starting with things like non-negotiables? Why are we starting with, because it's like we're erasing the whole idea of dating,
Hmm.
and we getting straight into a relationship setting before
Yes.
we even get to have brunch or tea or lunch.
Yeah.
It's
Or a
crazy.
ginger beer and a beef patty and a walk in the
Or
park.
ginger beer and a beef patty. Okay. We have no
Just
sponsors
saying.
on this, so please don't mention where.
Actually, Golden Crest did sponsor our event, so shout out Golden Crest.
It's sponsored right now.
This is true. I'm trying to keep the relationship going.
Oh, because I used to buy a lot of beef patties from Golden Crest.
Yeah. Well, now I'd want a pumpkin patty, but whatever. It doesn't
But
matter.
yeah.
But
So
the
okay,
idea is,
so what's your thoughts then on these non-negotiables? Do you think it's realistic or unrealistic?
you asking in the chat?
Not asking you.
Oh, I think so many of these are unrealistic because it's sort of like having a multiple choice question as opposed to an open-ended question, right? If I am curious about, how you move through the world, what you want to do with yourself, how do you, what have you achieved, accomplished that you're very proud of? What are you striving for now? It's more open-ended. I can ask you those questions and get at whether or not we're compatible here, as opposed to just saying like, so what's your life plan? And now you're on the spot with the, I don't know. You may have one, but you probably haven't phrased it that way. So I'm more of conversation, tease it out. Let's see, it will come up. It will be obvious if you are a waste of time. And it will be obvious if you are someone who's like, you know what, maybe we could be good friends, but I think I'd kill you if we were in a relationship.
Okay, that's not violent at all, at all.
I'm just saying, getting this close.
Yeah, I think, and I put it in the chat and ask him if they think it's unrealistic or realistic, right? And it might depend. So we'll see if anybody says anything. But
there is a second poll in my stories, and so far for the male one, what's trending is good with money and your mother likes her.
She's good with money and your mother likes her.
Yeah, those two options are trending kind of neck and neck right now. We'll see what the results are.
That's in the guys' one. Is there another girls' one? Or
that's in the men's one. For the women's one, we do have the life plan, but then we also have lives independently, and that seems to be trending. I'm in New York, so lives independently is a thing.
So this could also be based on environment.
Very much so.
All right. She says, all moms love me. Okay, cool.
Oh.
Past and present, right? So, yeah. I think, like I said, I just don't understand why we're taking away the best part of meeting people.
Is learning them, finding out about them.
Yeah, and to be okay with the fact that sometimes, like you said, some people stay at level 1, some people get to level 3, some people don't even get off the boat, and it's fine. It should be okay because that should be the idea of dating people.
Right.
I think we get so into this whole idea of what the end result should look like that we miss the beginning steps, and then how do you even get to the end if you can't even stop?
Yeah. And there is the instant gratification of all of this, like, oh, well, I found out this about him, and I know this, and I know this, and I know this, and it's like, I've done the checklist. I've figured out who this person is in the last, 10 minutes. And it's like, no, you haven't.
And then you should leave. Then you should go home.
Yeah. But there is
anywhere.
This kind of idea of, time. I don't want to waste my time. I have to hurry up. I don't want to waste my time. Don't get me wrong. I'm definitely someone who is very conscious of time. But when it comes to meeting people, like you said, the fun of it is kind of exploring their personality, understanding what motivates them, all that good stuff. And yes, you don't want to be with someone who's like, I'm fresh out of prison and will probably kill again. Okay. Maybe we don't go on that date.
For the logical brain, you have a lot of extreme examples.
I live in New York.
Right? But it's cool. So
there's a lot of extreme people in New York.
Yeah, I know that. But that would come back to part of the conversation about, do you think that the unrealistic or realistic non-negotiables, regardless of what we look at it as, do you think that it is based on the fact that nobody wants to waste their time anymore? Whatever that means.
I do think so. And like I said, I do think that is part of the dating app thing. I think this is a lot of, it's not just social media, it's the internet in general, where it's sort of just get to the end, right? Be successful by 20. I'm team no sleep. While you're sleeping, I'm grinding, and I'm using all of my time to hurry up and get to a point. Yeah. And it does take away from just kind of enjoying moments. I've definitely seen people who may be in the chat where it's so hard for them to celebrate the small wins on the journey because they're not at the end yet. And so I've heard people say, why are all these people going out on a Saturday night? What are you celebrating? You're not at your goal. I'm celebrating this small win. I'm celebrating the fact that my work week did not drive me insane. I'm celebrating with my friends and I'm happy to be here and spend time with them. Like, don't judge my joy. Let me take time the way I want to take time. But there is definitely this prevailing just mindset of hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And so it does seep into dating where it's hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. You're not where you're supposed to be. Hurry up.
Well, my question would be to the general people, what do you expect the result to be if that's your approach? I've constantly had the same conversation, just even not just in this topic, but even with men and men's mental health stuff, physical health, all those kind of things. What do we expect the result to be like when the effort that we put into it is subpar?
Hmm.
Like, what do we expect, right? Like, you want to go to places and everybody there is not what you're looking for, but then you're upset that you didn't find what you're looking for.
Yeah. Why is
You
there
know?
no church girl in this club?
Yeah. There's no church girl at the bar. Really? Why not? Or we look at stuff and we say, okay, I don't want anybody to waste my time. And you go in there hustling or hurrying to get to know somebody when that should not be part of the process.
Right.
And then when you don't find somebody, you're like, oh, there's no good men out there. Or, hey, there's no good women out there. All these women just want this and they want that.
Yeah.
It's confusing to me because I don't understand. Are we not thinking about what the result will look like if we approach it in a certain type of way? And this is why I say non-negotiables are unattractive to me, in my perspective, because it sets a stage for what you're coming with and how you're coming to it.
Right.
Again, standards, that's one thing. An expectation, right? Which there's a debate. Do I expect you and other people, or like expectations are good, expectations are bad. Like there's all these things now about it. But when coming to non-negotiable, I think it gives you a bad start for the other person. But then again, you might not even think about the other person because you're like, these are not my non-negotiables, which also could lead into something that may seem a little bit more self-centered.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah,
I think maybe it's wording. Maybe we're losing it based on wording.
No, because I think the sentiment is there, where it's the you have an idea of your ideal mate or whatever it is, and you're not settling until you find that particular thing that you have in your head. But you concocted that person. That person is not in reality. So does that mean everybody is disqualified because the person in your head doesn't exist in reality?
Well, if
And
you
I'm
do the
not
poll
saying
right
settle.
now, that might be the answer because a lot of people are still complaining that they have not found the person that they're looking for.
Right.
So, which means that you're that might be the answer right there. And like I said, that's maybe where we're heading. Where when we get into this thinking that this perfect person is supposed to exist when we're not perfect ourselves, then we set up ourselves for failure anyhow, right? Like, and then we go in there thinking, oh, it's about time. Like, I got to make sure that you don't waste my time. Don't waste my time means what? You can't be late because something happened on the way over here. You can't not like something that I like. Like you can't disagree with what I have to say. Like, and this is why I feel we're on this. We're on the pace to just be like, you know what? I give up. I'm good. Like, and that's what a lot of people are now. Even the men. When I talk to the men are like that. The men are like, bro, I'm good, bro. Like, I'm good. Like, why should I have to do this? I'm like, we sounding kind of weird. Like, what do you mean? Like, it sounds weird now because you're hearing more of those type of conversations, but it's also based on what we talked about. Non-negotiables, the idea of not wasting somebody's time, instant gratification, not even getting to know the person, but looking at whatever you think the results should look like, half-ass efforts,
Yeah.
Epic Fearless, I would love to jump in this conversation, spit some games. Tap in the chat, man. Let's read what you have to say. I'm interested now.
Yeah.
So non-negotiables. Some people I think they might have guessed. I didn't see anybody put in chat. They think it was unrealistic, or realistic. I do think that we've tapped into a lot of things that comes from instant gratification things. I think that's where a lot of this is coming from. And like I said to you earlier, peeling it back, you kind of like, wait a minute, like, how do we start this?
Right.
Like, where
I
did
think
this
we're not
come
doing
from?
the relating part of relationship where it's I have seen people who are like, well, these are my non-negotiables. Anything else means I'm settling. And it's not a step down, it's a step back. Like, do you actually need this? Do you need him to be this height? Do you need him to, drive this kind of car? Is that something you actually
Well,
need
I have
in order to
another
have a healthy
question.
relationship?
How long are you going to go when people don't meet the non-negotiables?
Right. But that's where you get like you said, the resentment and the anger of oh, there's nobody out there. And it's like, yeah, because they're in here. There's nobody out there like that.
He's not 6'2", he's 6 foot. Sorry.
Well, that's it.
That's it.
And also, I've heard it so many times, and I will say this for any of the ladies or anyone in the chat who feels this way. The idea of income is interesting to me. I've said it before. I think it's more important your idea of money and your approach to it as opposed to how much you have. But I do think if you have a certain standard of living, you don't want someone who's not able to be in that standard of living for two reasons. One, you'll feel like, oh, well, I guess I can't go on that trip because he doesn't have the money, or we can't do this because he doesn't have the money. But also there are definitely men who get very resentful when they don't have the money. So it's not, I need you to have the money. You don't like not having the money. But I will say, let's be easy, especially in this economy. Be easy about the income. There are free dates. There are things you can do for free. You can really have a good time with someone and spend $0, especially if you're in a walkable city. Like, let's chill on the whole, he needs to make this certain amount of money, especially since money doesn't go as far as it used to anymore. He now has to make like $600,000.
And also, we're looking at the majority of people who have those type of conversations are also feeding into what's being fed to them on social media, right? So when we say to people, don't think like that or don't have that type of concept, we're talking to the majority of people that do have that concept anyhow. Like, you know what, free dates? So like, free dates, he has to spend X amount of money on me on our first date.
But
like,
this is why we're talking about the non-negotiable, right?
But
so now you're sitting at home waiting for someone to take you to the fancy restaurant instead of enjoying a nice walk with someone.
Or in today's world, they'll take themselves.
Oh, absolutely, but that's not a date.
Like I said, but this is where we're leading to. So when we have those type of conversations, that's a part of it. And when we talk about, we talk about this whole thing about finances, right? Mm-hmm. And it's something that I think we don't pay attention to from the flip side of it. If you want this person that's making this amount of money and you think you're making that amount of money, maybe you all align. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the percentage of people that they're talking about in these brackets, and you and I had this conversation, it's not really that big.
Yeah.
Like, the amount is that percentage is not that big in terms of what we think it is. But the expectation of that is there. And then on top of that, what about those people who do have that? Do they like you?
Right.
So it's a whole bunch of stuff. Let me see. It's Epic Failure said, I am the experience. If she requires anything outside of yourself, she doesn't like you for you. I guess he was one of the guys that hit the poll that said, no male friends. This is the conversation. It said 100 cooperation from women is non-negotiable. That's what he said.
Okay.
And he said, I am the experience. If she requires anything outside yourself, she does not like you for you.
I am the experience, meaning you are the whole reason for the date and for going out. So if she doesn't like you and you need to take her to an expensive restaurant, then she doesn't like you for you.
Exactly. Yeah. But again, I want to know from people in terms of non-negotiables, do they think that it's helping or hurting their chances of finding dates that make sense?
I also want to just hear some non-negotiables. I'm curious. Yeah, I didn't hear everything.
I mean, I've heard the other one. I've heard from said abusive behavior, pedo, non-negotiable. I just find some of those things are extreme. Some of those things are kind of extreme, but it's fine. At least we got something. Yeah, I mean, if you guys just put in the chat if it is that you have your own non-negotiables, but I also really want to hear of a non-negotiable that you've heard about that you thought was a little bit unrealistic, because that would be where the conversation starts even more. Because now we're like, well, what are we expecting in this conversation? And again, I keep saying the same thing. I feel like we're missing out on the most exciting part of getting to know people.
Yes.
By leading with these non-negotiables and what you want and want and want and want and want to. It is so unattractive. I don't
It is,
understand.
but look, people, I think they feel like they're focusing their search by saying these are the non-negotiables, right?
From a
So
pool to a puddle.
fair, but they are saying,
All
I
right,
am
so I
looking
have
for this particular thing.
inconsistency is my non-negotiable.
Okay,
I can't debate that. I mean,
I
in terms
can.
of no, in terms of if you say inconsistency is my non-negotiable, meaning you need to be consistent in your efforts. Okay, cool, right?
Mm,
No,
I can
I-
debate that.
no. I'm saying that's we asked for it, so we got a
Right.
non-negotiable.
No, I get it that that's it, and that's a non-negotiable. But I could debate that that could be negotiated
In one way.
because there are definitely ebbs and flows in life, right? Like I talked to someone who was, I think we've had this opening a restaurant. And in the beginning, he had plenty of time to talk to me, text me, call me. And
Mhm.
then things picked up. And it would be like a week that I don't hear from this person. And it didn't immediately, signal to me he's no longer interested. I'm like, oh, he's busy. He has to go do that thing. So I reach out. And I'm
Mhm.
okay with a double text. Like I text, I don't get a response, I'll text again. It's because he's busy. And so, yeah, he was incredibly inconsistent, but that's because he's working on life. And so
Mm.
I have to be able to chill and not expect the same level of communication because I know what he's doing.
So I'm gonna allow Nikki to put in the chat what she means by it.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't think that that would be considered being inconsistent if you can't reach him because he's doing something. I think inconsistency means in terms of giving the effort towards whatever you're trying to get to, what you're trying to build.
Mm-hmm.
That we're talking about is life. That's life. So yeah. So if you can't deal with that, you're not aligned.
I've
But
definitely heard
yeah.
people as the inconsistency with, like you said, the effort and the communication.
So
Sometimes people can't do
Epic
it.
Failure 2026 said this, and I'm going to read
Wait,
it as
that's
he
the
said it.
person's name?
Yes,
I was
that's his
wondering
name.
why you kept saying.
All right, it said, if we are on a date and I tell her to sit somewhere and she doesn't sit where I tell her to date, where I tell her to sit, the date is over. And then cousin said, my cousin Aaron came on track 7 music. He said, laugh out loud, epic failure. And then he said again, disrespect is a non-negotiable. You get one chance and I'll correct you on it. After that, we're done.
I need that unpacked. So
Listen, we can't look at it from what we think makes sense or not, right? Because
no, I need more information.
no, I think that's enough information. Because
Nah.
if I tell her to sit somewhere and she doesn't sit where I tell her to sit, the date is over. I'm like, okay, like
But what restaurant are you going to? They seat you.
you see now you're being logical. You're being logical. Let's not be logical with
I'm gonna sit where the server says.
let's not be logical with epic failure 2026. Okay. All right. Nikki said, I think that communication for what she was saying could fix that. Yeah. So that's why I said I don't think inconsistency would fall into that bracket of lack of communication or
Mm-hmm.
not being able to communicate while something is going on. Because that's something you would talk about, right? Like, hey, so much stuff happening. I mean, I, I would have the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
especially if I know a lot of things are going on, especially when it
Right.
comes to that type of stuff, it's like a project or whatever. Um, I think when we look at it from non-negotiables, I don't think we on the outside of the person, there's a reason why these are non-negotiables. And I think that's one of the things I would like to hear more about. Like, what is
Yeah.
your reason for that being a non-negotiable? And could it be from past experiences? Could it be
Exactly.
from protecting yourself from something not happening to you again? Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I need the seating thing explained. When did that happen? What happened? I need the whole story. You told her to sit somewhere, she sat with somebody else, and you were paying for the drink, and you looking over with a tear in your eye. Like, what are we talking about? I need that
I
story.
would let it put in the chat because I don't know if you want to join him on
Yes.
the live. Because if
No. Put it in the chat. Help
put
me
it in the chat, because
understand
I
what the
want. I
heck
mean,
that is.
I cannot understand what he meant in terms of how he meant it, and
Okay, speak
again
for him.
and again. No, I can't speak for him, but
Well, I mean, explain for
I'm saying that I think that also comes with you and your personality,
him.
right? So if that's what you want out of a person, and you see from the first date that that's not what you want, then you have all rights to say, hey, this doesn't make sense. And like we were talking about that. If you don't align with your dating, then you don't align, then move on. And like you said, the date is over. All power to him, because then you make a decision instead of dragging this along and becoming disrespectful. So let's leave it as that. Nikki came back and she
Drop
said,
the story in the chat.
Nikki said, life be lifing, right? But if you want to start a relationship, you got to set parameters and try to be logical. You can't start something, then be inconsistent.
I don't know about that one.
Are we putting too much pressure on this dating thing?
I'm curious where the inconsistency lies, because like you said, it may not be the communication, which is what I was thinking. If it's you like me and then you don't like me, then we're done dating. That's not inconsistent.
But who determines that, though? What
I'm
action
trying to,
determines that?
yeah, I'm trying to understand what the inconsistency is. Like I said, I give a lot of grace for life happens, things come up, whatever. And you're right, communicate that. I knew he was opening the restaurant. I knew he was busy with things. And I knew I wouldn't hear from him. I didn't expect it to be that long, but
Right.
life happens. I'm curious what the inconsistency is when you talk about effort or availability, or
Right.
what
So
exactly are
Nikki,
you
you
referring
could you
to?
could put that in the chat too, but I kind of understand. I understand where she's going with it, and I think now we're finding that a lot of people are having conversations where I think the expectation now is that you consistently be one way to show that this is what you're about. Now, what I think is very what I think is kind of unrealistic is the fact that in today's world with so many things happening, not many people are as consistent as you would like them to be, right? We've become so attached and so we've become so connected that we're disconnected now. Like a lot of things, we don't pay attention to a lot of other things that we should. It's like people who say,
Right.
well, I texted you and I know you have your phone on because you go to the bathroom with your phone.
I
Like, why
say
did you
that all
text
the
back?
time.
Yeah, I mean, but to us, it makes sense. It's logical, right? For somebody else, they might just say, okay, I'll get to that at some point. And we don't know. We don't know. But
Yes.
I think you can start something, then become inconsistent is something that happens. And I think it's not a bad thing, right? So hear me out on this one. I think it's not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because then it shows that that's not what you're looking for. So instead of us saying, okay, well, it's terrible, it's you start something and then you become inconsistent. I think it gives you time to kind of like pull back and be like, okay, cool. Well, you know what? This is what I would like. I would require this if you want to get that deep, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, because in today's world, man, like, how many people have you texted back and didn't get a text until later? I'm one of those people. You message me and I'm like, yeah, I put my phone to charge, and
you really are.
I am, and I admit to that because sometimes there's so many things happening. I now have to prioritize what's out in the fire versus what's still cool. And then by the time I try to get to what's cool, it's Saturday.
Right. I wonder if inconsistency is, and please feel free to correct me in the chat, if it's action or intention. Because if I know you're busy, but I am still someone you want to be with and you still want to pursue something, but like, look, I met you at this time and then all these things happen in life and now I'm over here and I can't be that guy that I was here. If the intention is I'm going to reassure you that this is still important to me, but like I can't halfway open a restaurant. Like I can't halfway do my job. I have to be committed to this thing.
Ooh, that's deep. Hold on.
But are you looking for the reassurance through the consistency, or are you looking for the consistent action for just habit and behavior? Like what exactly is the reason?
That is a great point that you made there when it comes to the restaurant. And I'll tell you why it's a good point. If you are surrounded by a lot of people who get into stuff like entrepreneurship and projects, like I do a lot of workshops, stuff, creating stuff, having to go here, go there. It's interesting that even while I'm going through that process, I'm supposed to reassure the other person about what again? My interest, right? While I'm doing this, which is part of my life plan.
Well, use those words against me.
Right? And it's now if I was looking at it from my perspective, I will choose not to date you.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I'm like, well, you're not understanding enough at this part of the process. And if I have to make sure that I'm good or I safeguard myself and my family, right,
Mm-hmm.
extended family, this is my project. And I'm not going to be consistent like I was before when
Right.
nothing was happening. And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things too that makes you understand where the alignment is, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
I've said this in a lot of conversations.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of women now. Just again, don't hate me, but it's just my conversation where they're forgetting how to be team players,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you forget how to be a team player, then I think you should even get into dating
Mm-hmm.
because we're talking about it. If you look at it from a financial standpoint, if that person's making money, you're making money, and that's this person's way of making money, then that helps you long term.
Mm-hmm.
However, when we look at it from, oh well, he wasn't consistent, and we go back and we say, let's trace this back. Well, why wasn't he consistent? And you say, well, before he used to communicate with me all the time and then he didn't. Oh, it shows more lack of understanding from you than lack of communication from him.
Mm-hmm.
Reassurance to me is an extra effort, especially if I'm engrossed in getting this part of life situated.
I don't know about that. I think you can reassure people without having to consistently be like
But it
every
will be
single
different for
day, hey,
different
good
people.
morning. But I think if you feel speculating, I think if someone feels comfortable and assured in the relationship, then it's okay. I get that I might not hear from you today. But if I'm someone who, and remember, people's brains are different, I
Mhm.
need you to constantly be like, hey, I thought about you. Hey, I thought about you. Hey, I thought about you. Then you're right. This just is not going to work. Also, with that guy, we did decide, like, okay, you need to focus on your thing. So we're just going to
Exactly.
take a break right now because you just don't have time. Like, there's no way to
Also,
have a relationship with zero time.
also the communication also has to be from the person who's expecting something that the other person may not know about.
Mm-hmm.
Because you might say, okay, cool. A good morning text takes you like 2 seconds. Good morning, so emoji. Hey, I'll call you later on today. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Now, if it is that's something that you'll have a discussion about, it's easier to say, okay, I know what you expect, or I understand
Right.
what you expect. I can and I can't do this, which leads to understanding,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what Nikki said is inconsistency with habits. And
Mm.
Nikki, you're setting yourself up because now I want to know what habits you're talking about.
I think
Which
she
is
means that, like, the touch points and things like that, making it, I know I'm going to get a text from you every morning or
right,
a
but
good
this
night
this
every
has
night.
to be a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to be a conversation with comprehension. You see, a lot of times we say, well, oh, well, you gotta text me, and they're like, you were expecting me to text you yesterday? Yeah, and again, it's not faulting one or the other. It's just a matter of that is a
Yeah.
discussion that you have to have. But I think we went so far away from the fact that this has nothing to that sounds like you're already in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? I just feel non-negotiables being inconsistency with habits. And this is something that I realized through all our conversations. When we talk about dating as the main topic, I think we get to level 3, 4, 5, 6 before we even get off level 1. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because we're talking about stuff like reassurance and all these things. That's not dating, that's a relationship or the beginning of
Interesting.
a relationship.
Right.
So when we talk about non-negotiables at the beginning from dating, and you say inconsistency, isn't that level 2 or 3?
I don't think so. I think if
So is
you,
that still
let's say
level
we've
1?
we've had two dates, right?
Mhm.
And date one happened and it was great, and then you're like, oh, that was so great. I'll call you tomorrow or 2 days from now, and we're going to go date again.
Mhm.
And then we have the second date, and then you don't text or do anything. That inconsistency can happen almost off the bat because it is, granted, consistency shorter time frame, right? But it is just like you set an expectation of this is how we are going to communicate going forward, and then you didn't do that, and so
So are we
now it's like,
leaving
what do we?
room? Are we leaving room for things to happen?
That to me is a conversation with the hey, let's make sure we're on the same page here before we go any further. And that does happen in dating, right? Where you're like,
Mhm.
are we even on the same page here? I was really excited by the communication, every good morning, beautiful text before our second date, all of that. I was really appreciating that. That didn't happen anymore. Are we still good? That could be a conversation.
Ooh, this is a lot of pressure, boy.
Well, it's not, I don't think it's fair for someone to just be like, hey, just accept that my life is doing stuff. No, we
No,
have
no,
to have a
I agree.
conversation.
I agree with you. I think I agree with you in terms of then we should set that from the beginning, right? We should set that conversation and discussion from the beginning in terms of what you're looking for when it comes to that type of stuff, which is
And
communication.
your non-negotiables.
Well, again, so this is where the non-negotiables, again, this is where non-negotiables is supposed to help you to say,
Mm-hmm.
this is not somebody that I could continue doing this with because it's not something that he does.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing for the girls, for the ladies. This is something that they may not do,
Yeah.
right? Especially if we do how the world is structured right now. Like there's a lot of people that are just extremely busy doing something, and then there's some people extremely lying about doing something. Whatever, right? But I think we, like I said, I feel like we get to level 2, 3, 4 before we get off level 1, and level 1 now
Mm-hmm.
comes in the fact that if you set the discussion and you realize that from the first time we have 1 or 2, 3 dates, it's not going the way that it's supposed to be planned, then I think this is where a lot of people are not walking away from it, but
Mm-hmm.
they're sitting in it and then thinking it should change. So now it
Mm-hmm.
becomes, let's change this person to what I would like them to be, even though I realize that this is not what they are.
Mm-hmm.
So that I keep feeling like we get into 2, 3, 4. But anyhow, Nikki
Yeah.
said, "Oh, I dated a guy once who sends good morning text every day and gets upset because I didn't respond till I get moving." And I was like, "Hey, that's crazy," because I told him that my morning's not like that.
So you already told him. Then yeah, that's a different story.
It's a walk away story. Like
I don't know. We did say we need to be patient with people, right? So is that something you could
when you use the
negotiate?
word when you use the word upset because I didn't respond until I got moving,
I'd be curious why he got upset. What do you think is happening?
that's too much. Like,
What
why
are you
would
talking
somebody? Why would
about?
some?
That's the whole
Why
point
would
of
I
getting
want?
to know someone. I want to get to know what upset you
Yeah,
about
but
this.
you're asking a question like, okay, well, what do you think is happening?
Yeah, because you're upset, which means you are either assuming I'm not interested, I'm putting you to the side. There's something you believe is happening. And let's talk about it because it's very possible that I'm just like slapping my alarm clock and just not ready to say words until my second cup of coffee. But that
Now,
can be a conversation of
epic
the, hey, that
failure,
expectation is not realistic for me.
epic failure is on one today, and I'm gonna say something. He said, how long did you know this guy? And Nikki said, I knew him for like 6 months prior, right? And then epic failure also said, sounds like a lame. And no, and I wanna kind of.
Uh-oh. Oh, geez Louise.
No, because I'm saying that instead of getting upset, I think what you said makes sense. So don't get upset because then that comes out in your communication or lack
Hmm.
of, right?
Right.
So instead of getting upset, you can ask different questions about it because some people are just not morning people. I am up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Some
Oh,
people
there's
are
one of
still
those in the AM?
some people are still sleeping, but then I utilize that time for the things that I need to get done, to do what I have to
Mm-hmm.
do. But when I think about it from the perspective of somebody getting upset because you didn't text them back until a certain time, then your expectations are definitely going to set you up for failure, which is actually what um, Ellie said. She's like, expectations can set you up for failure because
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Why would I text you and then expect you to text me right back? That sounds kind of controlling and insecure. And I'm a man. I'm saying it from a male perspective. So that's why I said I kind of agree with Epic Failure 2026 when he said sounds like a lame.
I
I
don't know
wouldn't
about
use
that.
I wouldn't use those words, but I think
But you'd be thinking them.
I think but I think we have to now have the discussion of okay, well, how are you communicating that you're dissatisfied with the fact that you didn't get a text back at a certain
Mm-hmm.
time? And
Yeah.
how well do you even know the person? And is it that you're trying to change the business something that they're not? Because if somebody tells me that they're not a morning person, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna sit there and expect something to happen within a certain time. Like
Right.
if I message you at 6 o'clock in the morning, knowing you have to get up, go get coffee, go to work, do this, settle down. By 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, you still have stuff to do. You have meetings. Because I have those type of days.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I get upset?
Mm-hmm.
And
But also,
if that's your non-negotiable, then you should be with somebody who would respond to you as soon as you text them.
I think just from teaching and understanding that people are wired very differently.
Differently, yeah.
There are definitely some people who there are things that trigger them that someone else would be like, why is that even bothering you? So I would still have the conversation for why is this bothering you? Because I need to understand what happened in your mind that said this is bad, as opposed to she's tired, she's moving a little slow. So let me understand what actually upset you. I'm not mad that you got upset. I am concerned that there may be something else that I'm not. There's information I don't have.
Agreed. I agree with you.
But I would ask. I would be like, "Why did that upset you?" And if
I
your
agree with
answer
you.
is because you my woman and you supposed, okay, then we're done.
I agree with you, and like I said, and you just said it, and I agree with you, and hopefully the conversation does not start with the upset emotion or the disappointed emotion, because that's what I'm saying. If you have realistic expectations of people, you can't expect somebody to always respond as soon as you want them to respond. And that comes with maturity. To me, I just think so. Right? I could be wrong. I'm just saying. But I think if that's also a non-negotiable, again, this is what you want out of your dating. This is what you want out of meeting somebody.
Yeah.
And this is why we talk about dating for alignment and not just intention, because you're already doing the intention part of it. But it's like, what are we looking for? And then when we see that it's not what we're looking for, how quick are we to walk away? Or how long are we going to stay to figure out, well, what's your trigger? Your triggers are you problem.
Let's just say it like that.
Because triggers are you problem. If somebody triggers you, that's a you problem. That's not anybody else's problem. You have to work on that. And I had a discussion with some guys in a group the other day. I said, we can't keep using these words out of context. And blaming people for things that trigger us, because if it triggers us, it's a you problem.
Yes.
Right? You have to be able to deal with it better. You have to be able to understand what's going on. So if texting you and you don't answer me triggers me, bro.
But that's, again, I'm still going to ask because I don't.
You will ask. And you're right.
I'm often confronted with the fact that people weren't raised the way I was raised. There are people who don't think the way that I think. And so what seems like it makes sense to me, someone had a whole life experience where something else makes sense to them. And I would at least want to have the conversation of, wait, what? How did we get here?
You're really nice and logical.
I'm more curious. I'm just sort of like, what is going on? Because there are definitely times, and especially as someone who dates men, where the communication just isn't, what you're saying isn't what you're feeling. And so there are a lot of times where I have to be like, wait, what? Like, that made no sense.
So you're trying to
what you just said made no sense.
Yeah, you're trying
I'm not just a storyteller, I'm a story collector. I want to understand.
So sweet.
It doesn't mean everybody gets access. It's just, hey, I want to understand what your problem is.
And again, we talked about it from the majority and minority standpoint. The majority of people are not going to be like you. So therefore, if this guy is really interested,
or them.
If this guy is interested, he also has to understand, I have to find a better way of communicating what upsets me, if we're going to use the word upsets me, and then have that conversation, because then that's where you set the playing field, right? You understand what's going on.
And there are definitely times where it's some other chick did something and he went down a whole rabbit hole. And again, that's information where you go, all right, you should not date and work on that. Because
I'm glad you just said that, because that is something I wanted to say tonight. I think a lot of people should not date.
You are just in general.
Yes. I think a lot of people.
Back to your corners. Just don't do it.
So because we talk about time, we talk about non-negotiables, we talk about all these things. Some people are just not ready for dating, but they jump into the dating idea and then they critique and they demonize the whole idea of meeting people when you're the issue.
Fair.
So chill out.
Yes, absolutely. But there are definitely people who don't know they're the issue until they're confronted.
But
Until they're like,
that's my
oh,
point.
wait, maybe I'm the problem. Am I the
But
drama?
that is my point. A lot of us are so unaware or not
Mm-hmm.
self-aware that we're going
Yes.
into these things blaming other people when it should be just, yo, stay in your corner, work on yourself, and try to deal with stuff so that when you do come out into that, you come out a little bit better than you started, right?
Right.
Because you have a lot of people that will talk about, like I said, they talk about the results, but what's your effort looking like?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What's your demeanor like? What's your attitude like? All these things. What's your mindset like going into a conversation? And this
Mm-hmm.
is where we have the conversation all the time about not everybody should be dating. Like some of them should
Sure.
just stay to themselves because some of them need to be by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're coming in with non-negotiables, I get it. And again, unrealistic or realistic, I think I'm not here to judge that because that's based on you.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you lead with those type of things, understand what the result could be based on how you lead with it. Just like with the guys, I tell them all the time, if you lead with money and you lead with all these things that you have, don't expect that person to now all of a sudden look at you differently later on because that's what you led with.
Right.
And if you go somewhere where she's all about just the money, 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 so you're not smart enough to think to yourself, well, she's just all about the money.
The bait you use, the fish you catch.
Right. So it's the same thing. If we're going to talk about dating and non-negotiables, let's get more self-aware. Let's be like, you know what? These
Fully
non-negotiables are
agree.
delusional. Right? This is so unrealistic. I don't even know this person exists.
Yes.
And then let's take a step back. And again, some people may like this when they listen to it and they may not. When you get to a certain age, right? You need to chill out. You need to chill out because your expectations and non-negotiables are delusional,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think we have to be more self-aware when we're dating or getting to know people. And we also have to understand that some people just won't fit.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they don't fit us because of us.
Fair.
Understand?
Fair
Off
point.
track a sec. What do you do when your friend is be telling you that you gotta be a little more aggressive on being out there? Um,
You have to be more aggressive.
yeah, let me reread
Oh,
that.
as far as like dating.
So you tell me, because I'm trying to understand. You tell me what you thought of it. She said, off track a sec. What do you do when your friends be telling you that you gotta be a little bit more aggressive on being out there? So tell me what that means, and then everyone's entitled to their
If
opinion, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
If someone is saying they want to date, they want to find this person, whatever, they never leave the house.
Ooh, that okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So that's what we're talking about.
Or when they do leave the house, it's resting bitch face the whole time, or it's you're not approachable.
Stay
You're
home.
not.
Stay at home.
Yes, but there are also people who have put up kind of walls that they think will protect them, but what it actually is doing is keeping people out.
Say it with me. Stay at
No,
no. You don't want
no,
to say
don't
it?
stay
Come
home.
on.
Because if you want to date someone, staying home is the last thing you want to
But
do.
then, okay. Again, wanting to date someone and being ready to date someone is two different things.
Yeah.
And this is what
Yeah.
leads to all these aggressive people and people who are disappointed and frustrated and we can't find this and we can't find that.
Right.
You go into Ross looking for something that you should find in Chanel. Like I don't know. Like it's weird to me that you don't understand or you're not self-aware enough to understand this doesn't make sense.
Or there have definitely been, oh my gosh, I'm playing Cardi B in my head right now.
Really?
So yeah, I've been cuffed up too long. Let me remind you. It's some people who've been in long-term relationships or they've been single for a very long time. And now it's hard to kind of put themselves in the position to date. And it's not that they don't want to, or even that their expectations are unrealistic. They simply are just like, well, I went to the grocery store. I should have met someone. It's like, you had resting bitch face the whole time you were out.
You met the cashier. Relax. Okay, calm man.
But I think it's more of if you do want to meet someone, be in places like we've said where you can that will facilitate that, where you can have a discussion with someone, where you can talk to someone. If you want to have a conversation with someone and you're in the clubs all the time, this is not the place to meet people. You might get a nice wine. He might be cute. Maybe you talk for 2 minutes after the party before you go home, but you really didn't meet this person. You have no idea who this person is. Is there other options? Bookstores, like we said, grocery stores, where you can actually just like strike up a conversation, put yourself out there a little bit more so that you're not just like, well, I went outside and nobody tried to talk to me. And it's like, yeah, you weren't really outside.
So I
You
think for the
weren't really
person
there.
that says to you, your friend that says to you that you you need to be a little bit more aggressive out there dating.
I think
Um,
aggressive is a weird word for that.
well, yeah, but I think that person doesn't understand you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where your self awareness comes in. She said, "Lava, maybe my focus face doesn't say I'm single. Maybe not. I don't know. You know." She
Mm-hmm.
said her focus face, which means she meant resting bitch
RBF.
face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
right. Which makes sense. But again, if your friends are telling you that, they're telling you that because they care, right? They want you to be out there and to meet somebody because they think you deserve somebody. However,
You don't think that person deserves someone?
I think
Don't listen to whatever
you
he's
have
about
to
to
be
say.
self-aware enough to understand something like what she just said. She said, maybe my focus face doesn't say I'm single. Guess what? Maybe it doesn't because you're not approachable.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I said. We have to be open-minded to these type of conversations because you want people, you want to attract people because that's what's about, right? Is you
Mm-hmm.
see somebody, they come and talk to you, hey, what up, what up, and yet still you're not putting yourself in a place to be attractive.
Right.
So it becomes unattractive, which means you become unapproachable, and then you're like, nobody wants to talk to me. Would you talk to you? So you understand what I'm saying? So the friend might say, hey, you need to be more thing because she cares. And she's like, hey, get out there, meet some people. And then you're like, okay, I'll go. And then you go out there and your face is like straight. And then you expect people to say whatever, right? Say,
Right.
correct. They think it's time I do that. Now, Nikki, honestly, she said correct. They think it's time I do that, which again, they care about her.
Mm-hmm.
The only person that knows when you are ready
Right.
is you.
Yes. But
Not
is it a
taken away,
question
in
of
fact,
not ready, or is it a
not,
question of not sure how to? Because
well,
not ready means, yes, definitely stay inside, but not sure how
yeah.
to be approachable and to convey
No,
that you're
I'm
interested
not
is a
buying
different
that.
story.
I'm not buying that not be approachable thing. I'm buying, I'm going with the fact that it has to be if you're ready to be out there and not because you don't know how to be approachable, whatever. Because half of these people work. They work at jobs where they deal with people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying you being ready to date is different from you being ready to meet the guy at the register
Mm-hmm.
or you having a real conversation outside, which is why I kept saying we missing the part of the excitement of meeting new people and having conversations. Because even in this sense, maybe your approach shouldn't be meet people singular, it should be meet people in a group.
Yeah,
Maybe, right? Because then it makes you more comfortable. She said, I think I'm an introvert, extrovert. So you're an ambivert. Okay. All right. So
I know
again,
that
listen,
style.
I'm also an ambivert, right?
I have
I
I have advice
consider
that's going to contradict what Garth is going to tell you.
no. I consider myself an ambivert, but that doesn't mean that if I was to be going into that type of thing, I would be unapproachable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a reason for like you
Yeah,
could be an introvert and extrovert. Like again, I do this all the time. I go out there when people have to drain me, I go hide for a little bit, recharge, and I come back out.
yeah,
So it's not a matter of that making you unapproachable. It's maybe the way that you're going out to talk to people or the way how you're when you're out, what you look like. Because if you look unapproachable,
yeah,
the possibility of you being unapproached or not approached is kind of high. No?
yes. But I do think there's a different mindset, especially if it's uncomfortable. I'm assuming that this is just uncomfortable for you. Like, I know I'm a certain person when I'm working versus when I'm, just chilling, being Deanna. I will say there are times where you just have to do it anyway. Where it's I don't really want to talk to this person. I don't really want to go outside. I don't want to, but your goal is to meet someone or to expand your social network or whatever. You have to do it anyway. Like at some point, you have to get uncomfortable and do it anyway. Because if you actually want to meet people or meet a person or whatever, this is how you're gonna have to do it. You're going to have to be mindful of, okay, my face is RBF. I need to change my face a little bit. And I'm not saying go around like a grinning idiot, but just, okay, maybe soften my face, be conscious of the fact that I want to look approachable and do something that is not familiar or comfortable for me because my end goal is to meet people and to attract people.
Hold on, hear this. Nikki also said, and I hate when they start talking about your clean skin or cute face, like, yo, what I gotta do, why that gotta be the focus? And then Epic Failure 2026 said,
Easy
hey,
to see.
they just don't know what else to say because they don't know how to flirt. Compliments are easy. And, you know,
I wouldn't be mad if somebody said I had clean skin. I clean my skin.
I love clean skin. So
Thank you for
therefore,
noticing.
again, this is what I'm saying. If those things are not what you're looking for, maybe do a self check and say, you know what? Maybe it's not time. Because and that's another thing we've talked about in the conversations I've had where, and I have personally been part of this, and I could tell you from my experience, a lot of women are not. It's like they're acting, and I don't want to. They're acting as though they don't know how to take a compliment, right? And sometimes genuine compliments come from what we see. So if so like Nikki, if I saw Nikki's face and I told her she had nice skin, she might be like, "Oh God, shut up," like I'm just saying because remember she's kind of like, what does that have to do with it? And I think if you see anybody with nice skin or nice hair or dressed nice or somebody that smells good, a compliment is easy because it could start a conversation.
And also, I don't know your soul.
I'm
I don't know
huge
you
on
yet.
people with nice skin and a nice smile. I love to see people with nice skin and a nice smile. So that would be my compliment, right? But I guess
She gets it so much. She's like,
she
oh, I
gets it
wish
too
somebody
much.
would say something different.
But not just that. Now you're dealing from the men's perspective. You're dealing with a lot of people who are not able to take compliments or not taking compliments as a genuine compliment, and they're always like, "Well, what do you have behind that?" And that's unfair to me if I just met you, right? The last one I gave you the the
we're not
compliments
working
just for
together.
so.
I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't go to school together. We don't work in the same place. I don't have him on the call. Like I don't.
We didn't say, okay, you're gonna say that, and then like 2
you're gonna
blocks
say
later,
yes,
I'm gonna say
So,
it.
and this is why I say sometimes it's a matter of being self-aware of if you're ready for those type of conversations. Because a compliment, and Ali just said it, a compliment is an easy way to start a conversation. And for guys, being visual, we see visual. Like if you say to me, he's like, yo, you got a nice ass. That's different.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. So compliments are nice, but some men be eye raping you. You just met me, ease up a little bit.
Call him on it. I say words, but then again, I don't know where you are, Nikki. The Brooklyn in me is like, so I don't know.
Well,
where
I mean,
you are.
listen, if they're creeps and they're creeps. So I mean, what are you gonna do? Like that's what I'm saying. So you have to know the difference, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not talking about it from that extreme. I'm talking about it from a compliment is a way to start a conversation, right? If I'm in the store and somebody says, "Hey, you smell nice," like I should look at her like, "What?" Makes sense.
Why are you sniffing me?
and at this point, I take all the compliments. Anybody tell me anything that I come, I take it. I think it's a good thing. Yes. So, but I understand what she's saying, and maybe is the environment that you're in, right? That's the kind of men that they have there. So maybe it also shows you that maybe that's not the environment to be in because you don't want people that are lusting after you or look or eat. Listen, to me, to look like you're lusting is even worse than lusting.
Yes. That
because
then you can't even hide.
You can't even hide that shit. But we're not saying lie about it, but we're just saying like.
But no, it's like that's too oozing out of you.
Yeah, that's that. So I get it, Nikki. I get it. It's just creepy. That is creepy. You're right.
That is creepy. That's a hot cuss ass. That's not somebody you need to necessarily speak in. That's not a dating option for you.
Right. So let's go back to the non-negotiables.
I think honestly, my concern is when I think of realistic and non-realistic for these. It's realistic towards your goal. Is it realistic to have this non-negotiable for what you are trying to achieve? If you are saying, you know what, I want someone who is really ambitious and supportive and understands me and we can hang out and we can have a good time, does 6'2" matter? That to me would be an unrealistic non-negotiable because
Okay.
that's not going to
Okay.
help you towards your end goal unless it's also like, and I want him to reach the top shelf, like this step ladders, whatever.
There's ladders, yeah.
Um,
Home Depot has like a bunch of them.
I'm saying, but when I think of unrealistic, I'm like, this is not going to get you towards your goal. I think this with a lot of things. I think this with when people, are looking at cars, when they're looking at jobs, it's like, okay, do those things actually matter when you're trying to get to this end goal? If you want someone who is someone you can vibe with, you have similar culture, similar intellect, similar interests, or maybe they have different interests and you want to grow and expand in that way, then are these things that are on your non-negotiable list really going to help you achieve that? If they're not realistic. Get them off your list.
I think it's a lot about alignment here. I think we have non-negotiables for people that we already disqualified before we even met them. And I think realistic or being unrealistic is also, like you said, based on the person themselves. Um, but we also have to be self-aware. I'm using that word a lot today because I think we go into it not even self-aware that some of these things just don't make any sense,
Right.
right? And with the height and all that kind of stuff, women have a lot of different reasons why they talk about height, and men have that discussion. I had that discussion with men even up to recently about guys who are not as tall as 5'11" or 6 feet and above feel a certain type of way because most of the women are blatantly going to say you're not tall enough, right?
Missing out.
Well, no,
Little short
it's
king
but
who
again,
dresses nice. Come on.
but again, if this is your non-negotiable, be self-aware enough to understand that you have now narrowed your pool to a
Yes.
puddle. And now that you've narrowed your pool to the puddle, you have to also understand that it may take longer to get what you're looking for. Also, the ones that are in the puddle, they're non-negotiables. They're non-negotiables, right? No, the next one is a teardrop. They're non-negotiables. You may not fit into what they're looking for either. So that's why I feel like we're getting far ahead of ourselves when we start off with non-negotiables because we're not even getting to know the person. Like you said, you might find somebody that may not be the height requirement, but then they might fit other things. But then you may not fit their other things either.
Yeah.
It seems so one-sided sometimes when we have the conversation about it that I really feel like we're just not self-aware. We're just not aware that this could happen. Like I could find the perfect person for me, and I may not be the perfect person for them.
Exactly. Yes. Fully agree.
Self-aware.
But also, give a short king a chance.
I don't understand why you keep saying that. What's going on?
Because I had good experiences. Just saying.
That's good. That's a good thing. And but again, it's all based on you, right? So it's based on you. You might see that as not a thing, and you might have your reasons for it. But I think when we have this type of discussion, and some people say stuff, some people don't, but we get in the idea that a lot of it is just based on. They try to make it seem it's based on preference, but I don't think it's based on preference.
No.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Some preferences are
interesting conversation, man. That's an interesting
That's why we
conversation.
have this.
Yeah, but it's like, why are we leading with these things? This doesn't make sense. We're so far removed from the experience. Like, okay, so the reason why I say that is because I remember going out with somebody and leaving thinking like, wow, that was a really good conversation.
Nice.
Right? And that to me is something that you can't get when you come in with a shield. Because you have the person now on guard as well. Because you're on guard, they're on guard. And we talked about it last time. And the same wall you put up to keep people from coming in, right? Who you don't want. It's the same wall you keep from people from coming in that you want. Because it's the same wall. And I think that's where I'm kind of confused sometimes. And I kind of like try to understand a little bit more and pay attention. Because I'm like, do you not understand that you're losing or you're missing out on the experience of getting to know anybody? And not just from the dating doesn't have to lead to the relationship. The dating could actually lead to a friendship that you may not even see. So that's why when I talk about it, I'm kind of like, Like, are we just not aware enough to understand that we're part of the issue?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're part of the problem while we're not getting through. Like,
Am I the drama?
I don't think people pay attention to that. I think we're
Yeah.
like you said, a lot of it is instant gratification, time, hustle, hustle, hustle. Well, let's get from point A to point Z in
Mm-hmm.
0.5 seconds. Like, just get there, right? And they're just missing out. They're just missing
Yeah.
out.
The journey is fun, where you get to learn someone. And yeah, there are definitely some things that I know I've had people in my life when I was younger who they had their lists. You know, some of my girlfriends had their lists of, oh, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. And then they're like, but why'd you date that guy? Why'd you talk to that guy? I'm like, we are having a ball. While you're sitting there making your list, I'm having fun.
Do you
I'm
think? Do
going
you
out
think?
doing stuff.
Do you think it's more frustrating when you get older with the list, with the non-negotiables?
I think, like I said, I think if your list is realistic towards your goal, have that. If it's not, throw it away. At this point, you should have an idea of what you want for yourself, what you want for your life.
Mhm.
And if you don't, then you don't have a life plan. And you should probably work on that. But I think it's more important to really understand what you're looking for, what you're trying to achieve, whether that's, I just want to meet people. I just want to expand my network. I just want to have fun with people. You know, I don't want, if somebody is busy on Friday, somebody else will go with me to the park or go to this, block party. If you're more thinking of, no, I need my financial future set up and I need this and I'm rushing to have children and they need to look like this and they need to be in this school and
Mhm.
you are
Do you
going to
not think that's
frustrate
what it,
yourself.
that's what it sounds like?
I absolutely do. I think
Mm.
there are definitely some people who are like that. But like I said, if your list does not get you towards the goal, it's an unrealistic list.
Nikki said, think people just got so caught up on the things they see on social media again and forget about just having fun and gaining experiences. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You
Like
still have fun.
there's no more, we talk about meeting people. I don't think we're that prepared. I don't think we're prepared for that. I think like you just said it. A lot more people are looking at it from, they want all these things set this way so that it gives them the result, and they're not understanding that they're not looking at this broad spectrum or choices. They have this big
Hmm.
wide range of choices when it comes to that, and
Hmm.
there's no longer the experience of having a good conversation anymore because everything is so
Yeah.
rushed. And if it's not
Hmm.
so rushed, it's so I'm not going to do and I can't and I won't and I this and I'm like, well, why are you even out here? Like, it's like somebody who doesn't drink going to the bar to sit by the bar. What are you doing out here, bro?
Hey,
Like,
there are some really good mocktails.
listen, I'm just saying that we have to
No, I
figure
get
out
you.
where we need to fit in order to get what
Yes.
we want. And a lot of people are just going in all different types of places. And then when they don't get what they want, they're frustrated. And for the
Yeah.
people that get older into dating, I don't think it's easier,
Hmm.
right? You're more subjected to your conditioning. You're
Hmm.
more subjected to the way that your mindset is now at this point in time. You've been conditioned for 40 something years or 30 something years, even the 30 something people, for 30
Yeah.
something years one way. And you're going to meet people that you're going to have to adjust with or compromise
Hmm.
with. And once you don't have that in you,
Hmm.
don't date, chill out. I keep saying it because I think that will help to resolve some of the issues that a lot of women are having as well as men
Hmm.
when it comes to saying that they can't find somebody because
Right.
you're not that somebody either because you're not
Hmm.
ready or that's just not your thing yet or you're just going into the wrong places looking for the right person. How does that make sense?
Right.
You
There's too
know,
much pressure there.
it's
There's
too
too much
much.
pressure on finding the right person, which there might be right people. It
And
may
it's
not
too
just
much
be
pressure
this
on the
one
person that
person.
doesn't even know that that's what you're looking for.
Right? Like suddenly I have to fulfill all these
Like
things.
what? What
Yeah, I
did you
did
just
not
text
sign up
me?
for this.
Non-negotiables. What?
But I also think there is this idea of like, okay, personally, when you talk about not finding what I want, is this what you want? Make sure that you actually know what you want, not just what looks good, what you want to show off to your friends, what the style, the Instagram photos, the whatever it is. Like, no,
I
what
don't
do
think
you
they could get away from
actually
that,
want?
Diana. I
I'm
don't think they could
I'm
get away
I'm
from
away
that.
from it.
You're not them.
If I exist, another me exists. There's
Listen to
definitely
me.
other
I'm
people
saying
out
that
there.
I don't think that, and Nikki just said it, the same thing we keep talking about. we're feeding into this idea that's not realistic,
Mm-hmm.
right? It comes just like the idea of when you find that person and that person is already successful. What comes with that success is not what you're looking at on Instagram. It means lack of time,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes no communication or miscommunication, which you have to work on because this person has been
Yeah.
ingrained into that lifestyle. And I can speak for myself.
Mm-hmm.
There are times that I have stuff to do. So
Mm-hmm.
you're not a priority.
Mm-hmm.
And I could explain it as much as I would want to, and like you said earlier, find ways to reassure an individual. But you could, if somebody made up their mind that they don't feel a certain type of way, there's nothing you could do that could help that.
Right.
So when we say we want all these things, when we have to also think about when we get those things or we get the things that we look at are materialistic, what comes with that? Are we prepared for that?
Yes.
Because if
But
I
that's
meet
why I say
somebody,
make sure it's what you
ex-
actually want, not what you've been
oh,
conditioned to want or told to want, what
okay,
you
so cool.
actually want.
So do they know what they want?
That is the whole point. There's no point in making a list of non-negotiables if you have no idea what you actually want. How do you know that this is a disqualifier if you don't know what the end goal is? This is why I say make sure you know what you want. Make sure that whatever is on your list is realistic to get you to that goal. I'm definitely someone who loves working towards a goal, but make sure that that goal is something you actually want, that actually will bring you joy and happiness. If it's not, and you're just like, oh, my friends would love it if I, was with someone who flew me out all the time. Yeah, but you hate flying, so why are we doing this? Why is
But you
this
can
on your
get
list?
flown out, but just you're gonna get flown out by yourself. You'll be by yourself for about 3-4 days.
Yeah.
Because that's the
Or
cost
I
of
mean,
that's the cost of it, right? So this is why I said when we think about what we know, what we want, and we make this non-negotiable list, we also have to understand what comes with that, right?
yeah.
Because the same 6 foot, 6 pack, $6 million guy
Oh God, 3 sixes. No.
has work to do. But I'm saying they also have stuff to do. They also
Right.
going to have to continue making that money, right? And continue to try to provide whatever it is you think, whatever, right? And
You have feelings.
well, the reason why I say that is because I think we would relieve a lot of the frustration if we were very, very um we had a broader mindset of what are we looking for,
Hmm.
right? Anytime you try to okay, let's talk about plans. And this is something that I used to hear long ago, like, when you make plans, you make God laugh.
Hmm.
I think we're doing the same thing when we come and we say, this is exactly what I want, right? And your probability is not as high, right?
Hmm.
To find that.
Yeah.
But you also coming into that with this mindset of this is what you want, only thinking from one side of the equation.
Hmm.
And this is the conversation I've had over the last couple of weeks because I realize a lot of guys and girls, men and women, are coming in here thinking, this is what I want. And we're
The
like, okay,
entitlement.
well, yeah, like they use words like deserve, which, I mean, listen, we've used words like that in the past. But when you come into thinking like this is what it is, exactly what you want, I'm like, are you prepared for when you get exactly what you want
Hmm.
and what comes with it? And this is for the ladies that say this is what they want in men, right? And this is
Hmm.
for the guys that say this is what they want in the ladies.
Hmm.
Because it comes like dating people that are not okay. So when we look at some guys and they look at certain types of women and they say, that's exactly the kind of woman that I want. But does she want you?
Right.
So this is why I feel as though we're coming into it with this idea of stuff and we're
Hmm.
not thinking it all the way through.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which leads
Fully
to
agree.
frustration, disappointment, all these
Yeah.
kind of weird things. And you're like, well, why did that happen? If you think about it long enough, you'll know why. It's all
Hmm.
connected.
Exactly. Yeah. But I do still think, because as the optimist on this call,
Logical.
I do still think, given the right mindset and
Hmm.
understanding, and of course, self awareness, but understanding what you truly want to be happy or what you really think will add to your life or whatever it is. I think dating someone and finding out if that person is like, you know what, I think this person could be long term, or you know what, this person is just like fun to hang out with. We're having a good time. Let's just do this every Saturday, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. I think putting pressure on someone to be like, you need to have these things, blah blah blah, is going to hurt you more than them because they could just walk away.
That's what it sounded like to me. It sounded like a lot of pressure.
Hmm.
It sounded like a lot of pressure.
But it's also pressure on the person making that non-negotiable list to be
Yes,
like,
but
I'm only looking for these
but this
things.
is
And
what
it's
I'm
like,
saying. The pressure is on both sides of it. One, the person that's having this idea, this is exactly what they're looking for. Because after a while, they realize it's not everywhere.
hmm
And then the other person of who you're trying to get it from the time you state that these are the things that you're looking for, I'm under pressure already.
yes.
So the guy who is aware is going to say, this is not for me.
hmm
Who might like you.
hmm
But he'd be like, this is not for me because that's not what I want to do. Like, that's not how I want to approach it. So
hmm
it's not a win-win situation if you think about it.
hmm
Having standards, yes, win-win, right? Because
hmm
you filter out what you're looking for.
Right.
Having expectations could lead to some disappointment, but that could be based on your experiences, right?
hmm
But non-negotiables don't set the tone for something that's a workable situation.
hmm
So yeah, I don't know. It just sounds like pressure to me. It sounds like this is too much. This was
Not
great.
too much.
I hope you had a good date. I hope you had a good time.
And you're
Don't
just
call
checking
me.
out.
I'll call
No.
you.
You won't call them though.
No, I won't.
Wow. I'm
So
curious in the chat first. I don't know if people are dropping notes in the chat, but I'm curious in the chat. Has there been a time when having those non-negotiables has worked?
no, I'd love to see this. Okay, let's see. Let's see. So if non-negotiables having that non-negotiables have worked, you know, but if they're in the chat talking about dating, I don't think it worked.
Dating doesn't always have to lead to like marriage or long term. You can date and enjoy someone's company and they become friends.
Right, but what is the idea of the dating?
Meet people.
Right. So if that's your perspective, which non-negotiables have worked?
Yeah,
Which means you
curious
found
what
that
they
person that fit into this thing that you're looking for. But wouldn't that be the ideal person that you're looking for?
not if your intention with dating isn't necessarily for like marriage or something. There are definitely people
There's a lot. There's a
who
lot.
date without looking to be married.
Yeah. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, I remember that. That was the conversation. But let's see. I
Never
mean, I haven't seen
again.
anybody put anything yet. But I listen. I just like I said, it's too much confusion,
Mhm.
right? So then we're not going into a date with a list because if you decided to go on a date means that they would have met some standard. So Nikki said, so then we're not going into a date with a list because if you decided to go on a date, it means that they would have met some type of standard or some standard.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
but there are
Yeah.
still people who go in with the.
Well,
How many kids do you have? Where's this? Where's that? What's the... interrogating on a date?
I go in with a short list of non-negotiables. Okay. Please, so this is somebody else. So please explain to us what your non-negotiables are. We would love to know. I would love to find out what are the non-negotiables.
Your mischievous smile is not going to be reassuring to them.
But they know me by now.
The
Listen,
chat.
these people know me. They know me enough
This
to
is
know
a
that,
safe space.
right? It's helped me to stay aligned. I go in with a short list. What are the non-negotiables? Come on, don't be shy.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious.
I'm very curious. Yeah, by now they know this face. You know, this is all right. Prioritizing health is crucial for me. That's a
Okay.
good non-negotiable, right?
You don't want someone shooting up heroin. Got it.
No, prioritizing health doesn't mean heroin use.
I'm just saying.
It
That
could be.
person
It
clearly
could
doesn't
be. It could
prioritize
be
their
from a
health.
health and wellness standpoint. I would think that's what they mean, right?
Oh.
Yeah,
So you mean
not shooting up.
not heroin. Okay. All right. Cool.
No, this is we're not talking about New York
New
alone.
York.
or LA. We're
Right.
talking about regular people in terms of health.
Regular people, not New
It's
York and California people. Got
some
it.
different type of people there. But yeah, okay, cool. So look, so that's not you know what? I like that. Prioritizing health is crucial for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I do not want somebody just looking like a heart attack, looking like a liability on my insurance. Just drinking all day, smoking all
I
day.
like,
I'm like, oh,
okay, but yes,
gosh.
non-negotiable is health and wellness for me. So you see, yeah. So yeah, I agree with that.
Look
That
how
makes
quickly
sense.
you changed.
Huh?
Look how suddenly you change from you shouldn't have these
No, I'm not
non-negotiables.
saying. Okay, I'm not giving that one up ever again, which means she did. Sorry. Okay, cool.
Past
It's not a
experience.
matter of
Okay.
I'm changing the fact that non-negotiables are unrealistic. I'm saying that the ones that you hear about, they are unrealistic from people who are not ready to even date and they
Hmm.
continue to complain. And it's not about the physical appearance. Okay, so cool. So it's not about physical
Yes,
appearance.
some people look healthy as ever, and then you dig into it, and their blood is sugar.
Yeah, but still, like I mean, everybody has their own idea of what it is, right? Because health and
I
well,
look at health insurance costs. That's all I look at. And
for
don't
me,
get me
this
wrong,
is a
anything can happen to
non-negotiable.
anyone. But still.
Okay, so for me, this is a non-negotiable because it speaks to someone's ability to be disciplined. Okay, so I want to ask this question.
Interesting.
So if you say, and it's not about the physical appearance, however, then you say, for me, this is a non-negotiable because it speaks to someone's ability to be disciplined.
Hmm.
Wouldn't the discipline show in their physical appearance?
There are plenty of fit people who look very different.
Diana, this is my field, right?
I
What I'm this,
do, but
this
there
is what I'm
are,
going to
well,
say
I
to you.
shouldn't say fit. I should say there are people who are not health insurance liabilities who don't necessarily. And then there are people who look very healthy who are not.
Yeah, but that's extreme. I'm saying physical fitness, discipline, it shows. I'm not saying
Hmm.
six pack, I'm not saying ripped. I'm saying it
Hmm.
shows somebody that's healthy and
Hmm.
health and wellness conscious versus
Yeah.
somebody and that is all based on discipline.
Hmm.
The extreme is what we've been seeing, which is not healthy because a lot of them are
Hmm.
not using what they should be using. And I could tell from just looking at pictures.
Wait, what are we talking about? The
But
ones
people
not
who you
using
say
what they
that
should.
look healthy-ish, they look
Hmm.
healthy, but they're not healthy.
Right.
The ripped person is not the ripped person is not healthy,
Hmm.
right? When you're getting ready for a photo shoot, you need to be ripped
Right.
for a photo shoot. Right after the photo shoot, within the next 8 hours of the photo shoot, you get to eat whatever you want because you have to replenish the body from what you've lost.
Hmm.
That came from competition prep.
Hmm.
Now everybody's seemingly competition prep by using inferior stuff to look that way all the time, which means that they're not healthy. But
Okay.
I'm saying discipline in the kitchen, discipline in sleep, discipline in that
Hmm.
stuff, that is what makes the person look a certain type of way when it comes to health. And again, they
Yeah.
don't need to look ripped to
Right.
be healthy. So I agree with what you say that they don't need to look to the extreme, but that's
Hmm.
what we see. Remember, we feed it into this
Right.
idea now of what it is. Like if I have to get ready
Yeah.
for something, I'm going to dial in.
Hmm.
But on a regular day, you don't need to dial in all the time because you're living life. Like life happens.
Right.
But
Yeah.
this is where natural comes in versus other things. Anyhow, that's a whole different concept. So she said, it shows
Great.
most of the times for sure. Yes, that's an absolute right. You're not healthy for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So, but
Hmm.
I agree with the non-negotiable from the aspect of, I think that one falls into alignment. Because she's also said she's not going to give up that one ever again.
I got to hear the backstory. Curious about that, but it's
I
okay.
would, I would know. I mean, I would want to know. So when this was not a non-negotiable,
Hmm. What happened?
what happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
And that's
that's
why I say I don't think there's anything wrong with having them if they're realistic towards your goal.
right.
If your
That's what we
goal is,
said.
I
Yeah.
don't want to sit by a hospital bed because you just can't control your drinking, then that is completely fair.
Yeah, you are very extreme. Yeah, that's extreme.
There's 10 million people in this city. I'm pretty sure I'm not the
She
only
said I
one.
ignored it and we didn't align.
Oh, she keeping it hush. Okay.
There's other
Fair.
things, but she's not gonna mention it, and that's
Yeah,
fine. We
fair.
respect your
Fair.
privacy.
Exactly. But it's fair to say these are the things probably because of your lifestyle or just your
It's
habits or just the
alignment.
environment you want in
Yeah,
your
it's
space.
alignment. And we talked about
Yeah.
dating with alignment instead of just dating with intention, because you
Hmm.
already have the intention to date. So
Hmm.
dating with alignment helps to filter out all the stuff. If you say you
Yeah.
did it before and you didn't have it as a non-negotiable, which again, I'm not judging anybody's non-negotiables, but if that's something that you see like a must-have
Hmm.
or you want, it makes
Hmm.
sense. There was another non-negotiable that I decided to ignore, and again, what is it? Not aligned. What was it?
You can't be in the chat and not tell.
Yeah,
Say words.
say what it
No.
is. I want to know, but yeah. So
But yeah,
and that's what
past
I'm saying.
experience can inform your
Some of it
non-negotiables.
is realistic.
Absolutely.
But a lot of what you see and what you hear, it's not realistic. That's what I'm
But
saying.
that's why we're having the conversation, because even for the people who previously may have had unrealistic non-negotiables, hopefully they understand now that
I dated an atheist when being with someone who has a strong spiritual connection with God. Well, that's definitely an alignment.
that's interesting. I actually know a couple who've been together for almost 20 years and they are that. One's an atheist and one is a very Christian.
Well, there's something that aligned them
Yeah,
for them to be together for that long. But in
absolutely.
this case, it just didn't. It just wasn't alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I learned a lot. Yeah, so she said she learned a lot. So good, you had a good
Mm-hmm.
experience from it. Then yeah,
Yeah.
just didn't align properly, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, okay, cool. See, look, we had something that kind of made sense. But it made
Because it
sense
was
based
one
on
you could relate to.
it made sense based on what you were saying in terms of if this is what you want for your life. Like if okay, so from an aspect of health awareness or fitness,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could say that's a non-negotiable for me
Mm-hmm.
because
That's your life.
it's more difficult if it is that our schedules don't make sense or we don't align with that, right? Now, I'm not saying that you have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I'm saying that there would be
Your
certain
puddle
things,
becomes a teaspoon.
a teardrop. But I'm saying that there should be some alignment when it comes to that because that is part of my lifestyle.
Right.
And if you're not part of the lifestyle, it comes like somebody who's really, really ambitious and they have somebody who's not. That could work. No, but that could work because that could be the support system, right? Now, in some cases, it may not work. Sometimes two busy people don't work. So you have to look at it from that aspect. But I'm saying if you look at it from a lifestyle perspective, a non-negotiable like that makes sense for those people who are like, I'm really into fitness.
Yes.
Right? And then they have some people that don't want people who are into fitness if they're into fitness.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. They're different things. But
That's-
I like the fact that she said it's just about alignment. And she learned a lot, which means she didn't come out of it too angry.
Nice. Too angry. Oh boy.
There's a lot.
Did
Listen,
not say angry.
there are a lot of angry and aggressive people out there.
But
Let's just
she
deal
did
with it.
not
This is
say
what our
she was
conversation.
angry.
That's why I said she didn't come out of it angry. Because she said, and even though I learned a lot, which means that she pulled something that was positive out of the situation, even though it didn't align.
Yeah.
That's what you need more of.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But we're not getting more of those.
But we will. We are trying to change the mindsets here. We are not saying what the status quo is. We're trying to change the mindset.
And I agree with you. No, as a sapiosexual, it was mostly intrigued. Okay.
Oh, you saw him as a case study.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, like I said, it's there are things that would make sense, but I don't think lead in with that, except when she said, but then I didn't make sense further on. Okay. She just had too much fun. Anyhow. I think when you
spill
lead
the
in,
whole doggone story and stop giving us little bits.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Maybe she'll message us the story after. I think it's just a matter of leading with stuff that's not attractive. And I'm just going to say it. A lot of it is not attractive.
Yes. Leading with anything that is not really at the forefront for you.
And we're missing out on just meeting really nice people.
Exactly.
Understand? Like just meeting nice people, like having good conversation. I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, a lot of people can't even have a good conversation.
Which is a shame.
Well, it's now the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
And again, when we lead with these things, I often ask the same question: what do you expect the result to be? That's the result.
Yeah.
That's the result. Nobody wants to talk to you anyhow.
Oh boy.
What?
I definitely lead with conversation because I know I am a talker. I am a caller. I am a talker.
Yeah, but you're curious and you want to find out and you want to talk about stuff. And then also you're knowledgeable.
I appreciate that. Let's say that.
You have to also understand some of the reasons why they're not having conversations because they're not really knowledgeable about too many things. They're stuck on this one thing. And that's how you find that out in a conversation, right? So there are people who could go into any place and talk to anybody. And maybe not just because they're knowledgeable, but maybe like you, curiosity.
You're curious, yeah.
Exactly. But those are all things you find out in that stage, which is the experience. You leave there saying, wow, I learned something today. Oh, I didn't even know about that. Like, how often do we hear that anymore? How often do you hear somebody say, I really like talking to you because I learned something from you? What?
Oh, I hear that all.
I hear it, but I'm saying how often do people
No,
hear
I'm
it?
kidding. I'm kidding.
But no,
No,
but
you're
why
right.
you
You're
no,
right.
but it's true. You said some things that I've learned, and I told you that. So when
Hmm.
you meet people who say, I learned something from you, I like that because that's good. That's what
Yes.
means we had a good conversation.
Yeah, you walk away with something. I love hearing people's interest in things that I have no idea about. Now I can at least say I know one talking point about it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So non-negotiables, when realistic,
can be a good thing.
can be a good thing.
Yes. Yes.
What's a conversation like that like? Let me see. I wonder if she could tell us. What's a conversation where you
She's not
had
going to tell us.
where you lead? No, no, no. I'm not talking about that. So, how do you lead with that as a non-negotiable when first meeting someone?
Hmm.
Like, hey, do you go to gym? And they
That's
say,
interesting.
yeah. Like, how do you tell us? Tell us. How do you approach that when meeting somebody as a non-negotiable? The health and wellness aspect of it, because I think
Hmm.
that and all is interesting.
Yeah.
I
And
like
what that
this.
means and defining what that means. Like, I love going to the gym, but I go for my mental health.
She
Like,
said, I just ask about interests.
you tease it out. Okay.
It's very nice. Good. That was good.
I love
Because
that.
I was also thinking that if you meet somebody that you wanted to go on a date with, unless it's online, but she could see that as interest. I think if you meet somebody in person that you want to go on a date with, you may have met them at the gym
Or
or
not.
or somewhere else
Or
that you
the
look
protein shake
or
part of
interest
the
or somewhere
grocery
where it's
store.
interesting. Just say quite easy.
Hmm.
That's I mean, I agree with like I said to you, one of my issues is trying to understand, right? The concept of the dating apps
Mm.
because I don't think that I've had lots of conversations about it, right? Or she said, "Don't date at your gym." I've had
Oh
lots of
wait, your
conversations.
gym. Yeah,
Yeah,
good
your
idea.
gym. I've
Good
had lots of
idea.
conversations about it, but I don't know anything about the apps itself
Mm.
because I really believe in meeting people in places,
Hmm.
right? And like we talked about being aligned in certain places. Like with me, I write, so like the bookstore's a spot, the grocery's a spot, like just different things. Like you go to an event, that's a spot.
Hmm.
I feel like is it the reason for these non-negotiables is mainly because a lot of people are not meeting people in real, so therefore it becomes an extra filter.
Very possible that
Okay.
it's narrowing it down, especially if you're a woman on these apps. You're getting so many people, swiping. And I've learned from someone that this guy was like, I just swipe and swipe and swipe because it really is for the woman to swipe and then it matches. Almost any time a woman swipes, it matches because men are just swiping, 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 swiping.
I don't know. Okay, but good.
Right.
I'm learning. I'm learning.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned that too because I didn't even know you could pay for Tinder until this guy was like, yeah. But I do think it's a good way to filter some of that noise. One
Mm.
thing that has happened recently, the apps are crap now. They used to be really interesting because you could find people with hobbies or things like coffee meets bagel, somebody who's in your area, and maybe you can meet up at a coffee shop and things like that. So it can facilitate a real life experience. Now it's
Sounds
bots and
dangerous.
ads and all kinds of things. Anything with the internet can be dangerous, but it used to be a way to actually be like, oh, you go to that Starbucks, let's
Hmm.
go meet
Hmm.
up and have a coffee.
So that has
And
changed now.
oh yeah, now it's just ads and bots and nonsense. It's a bunch of crap filtered in because a lot of them weren't really making money. Bumble, with my I went through a lot of the marketing on these things, and Bumble had a Bumble Fumble where they were basically not getting enough women on the app. So they put up an ad that was basically like, women, celibacy is not the answer. And it's like, oh boy.
What? Okay. All right.
Yeah. So it's different now. Like I said, I've been online dating since before online dating was a thing.
Okay.
But It can actually, it's a tool like anything else. If you use it properly, you really could meet some interesting people.
She
I
said,
just
not a
reconnected
Bumble
with
Fumble.
somebody. Yeah, it was really bad. They lost a lot of money and they immediately had to take down the ads. Um, but yeah, it can be good.
Okay.
But because
Okay.
of how they are now, because capitalism's a thing and they are not making as much money as they used to, it's just crap. A lot of them are just crap now. And you find even Tinder had an in real life series of events that they did around the country recently because it's
Hmm.
like they don't trust the apps anymore with all the bots and things. And so they're trying to now, Tinder, the dating app, is now trying to do in real life experiences because they're like, oh, people don't trust the internet anymore. We should
Yeah.
probably do things in real life.
Yeah, I think people are getting away from it, which is good. But then,
Mm-hmm.
it would be more difficult for them to have these non-negotiables in real that are not realistic, because then
Oh
you're just
no,
gonna get.
people have always had
No, I'm
non-negotiables.
saying, but then you're just gonna really have to understand that again. The other side of it is that some people are just not gonna be okay with it, and be like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what, this is not done my thing. So
Yeah,
we'll
because
see.
you
We'll
can't
see what that
filter
goes.
people in real life.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
can't walk into a room and just kind of filter out the
swipe
non
this
6 foot.
guy, swipe that girl. She's
Yeah,
out. Yeah. All right, cool. This was a good discussion. So
yeah.
it's what,
What's
yeah.
the takeaway for them? I'll leave you with the final thought for them. Oh gosh, hopefully something positive.
Well,
Not just everybody stop dating immediately.
other than that, right?
No.
No, other than that, I think my takeaway from this conversation and what I would really ask people to be more of is just self-aware,
Hmm.
right? We are missing out on the experience of meeting people and having a good time just meeting somebody. And if it is some of us are not dating for marriage and relationships, and that's fine too, because everybody has their own reason.
Hmm.
But you're still missing out on the experience if you lead with certain things. And I don't think people are self-aware enough to understand that leading with something that's like that is unattractive.
Hmm.
So if anything from this, if you have a non-negotiable that's realistic and that's your thing, that's fine. But we have to also be aware enough to understand what's realistic and what's not realistic, right? And then understand what the result would be like if we lead with certain things. So for the guys, if you lead with all the money, that's what you're gonna get. If the girls lead with non-negotiables and they're all unrealistic, you might get through with some people, right? But then it already sets the tone off in the wrong way.
Right.
And it's unattractive. Let's just be honest. It's
Hmm.
unattractive. So therefore, you're not going to get the full 100 of somebody when they realize that this is how you're coming at them in the beginning.
Hmm.
So a little bit more self-awareness. That's it. Like, nothing too fancy. Self-awareness. And some people just need to not date.
Oh boy.
Some people just need to chill out, just relax. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're not ready. Like, just chill out. Just don't. Just wait
Oh
until
boy.
you're ready to do what you do. Don't let friends pressure you. Don't go to places looking for the right people in the wrong place. That doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
But that also comes with self-awareness because you would know. You should
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And we're
So
gonna
that's
have
it.
another chat.
Huh?
Yeah,
What are
we're
you
gonna
going to
have
talk about?
another chat.
Yeah, we'll have our next one. This was good though. I mean, it was good feedback from. I mean, I've been out of it for a bit, but I didn't know how many people we would have to come in on to take part in the conversation. But we've had good conversation, which is good, right? We've had a lot of good conversation in terms of the non-negotiables were good. Um, I think self-awareness and take off the bitch face, laugh out loud. Yes, yes, Nikki.
Yes.
Exactly. You read my mind, right? And having nice skin is a plus.
Great thing.
It's
You're
attractive
blessed.
and it can start a conversation. However, you might need to leave that environment with all these tusty ass men. Um, look somewhere else. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
fair.
I think we had a good discussion. I look forward to having something else that we could talk about. I also want us to think about this. We have to be dating for and with alignment, right? So
Hmm.
in a positive side, the non-negotiables could work for that, right? A key takeaway though would be we need to be more vulnerable. Ooh, like she
Why
don't
is
want to come
she
off. She
reading my
like
mind for the next chat with vulnerability and boundaries? Anyway.
okay, well look, okay, cool. So look, she just said it and she confirmed it. So vulnerability and boundaries will be our next conversation.
I suspect you have nothing to say about this, so I'll just be carrying the entire conversation.
Yes, you will have to
Never
carry
thought
the
about
entire
it.
conversation for our next one that we do, hopefully very soon. I have some other stuff I'm trying to put into place. So great discussion, folks. Glad I joined. I appreciate you joining as well, and your insight as well as your comments. Right, and Nikki also very good. Thank you for sharing with us. But yeah, so we'll talk about it more. But yeah, so yeah, okay, cool. So that's your next topic. You have it,
Nice.
and I'll have a lot to say about that as well. The sugar
I'm
thing,
sure.
and I'll be on one for that as well, just because.
Perfect.
But yeah,
Perfect.
but again, thank you for being part of this. I appreciate you, the logical side of it, right?
And the optimism. Everybody go out and have a fun date.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And those who don't need to date could stay home.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
do it. Yeah.
Go
All right, so
anyway.
cool. So we'll have another one. We'll post it up. We put it on the story so they can
Yeah.
see it. And I think it's really interesting to find out, to hear different perspectives as well as both the male and female side of it.
Yes.
So we have a little more clarity on it. But yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, have a good night. I know it might be late. Appreciate
Well,
you all
hopefully
staying
this will
on.
be on your page for a while if Instagram loves us.
I'm going to see if I can keep it on there.
Yeah.
So people could share
Instagram
as well.
is wilding.
Yeah, it's all
been
right.
doing
That's
a lot,
okay.
but hopefully.
That's all right. We could deal with it. We learn how to pivot and adjust a lot. So
Yeah, that part.
all right. Well, cool. Well, thank you again, Deanna. Have a good night
Of course.
and appreciate everybody joining. We shall talk soon. And if you go on there, just share the post with other people so they could see. This is a very conversation. The name of this, the topic of this will be Bumble Fumble. I'll put that
Nice.
in there somewhere. So
Love
cool.
it.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Cool.
Good
All right.
night,
We'll
all.
talk. All right. Good night.